reason why someone should choose Lipstock LASIK Cataract Center is, of course, multifold aspects to this question and answer. The entire staff, we just have a great staff here, from the people who greet you and who make your appointments, and the technicians who are really so meticulous in the care that they give. The fact that they're top in their field and very well trained goes without saying. And then, my background, you've learned about my background when it comes to LASIK. You want to look for a surgeon who's, of course, very well trained and very experienced. But it's more than just experience and training. It's really the heart of the doctor that cares, and cares enough that they're not going to take shortcuts. They have a responsibility to have your result be as perfect as possible. And that means being there for you, examining you at the very least. You would think that goes without saying, but it's amazing that it doesn't. When you're at certain centers and you're seeing the doctor, well, doctor is an interesting term. It could be a non-surgeon who didn't go to medical school. I can't really overstate the fact that it's critical that the surgeon's there to examine you before the surgery so he can make an intelligent surgical plan that's custom to you. So if you need to be screened out because you're not a candidate, you want to, if your surgeon is so well trained and so experienced, then it's not just in the operating room, it's making critical decisions before the procedure so that the procedure can be tailored to you, that you get the best result. Of course, technology, you want to be top notch. Again, you don't want to cut any corners. You want to have a center that first is successful enough, busy enough that they can afford the best technology. Because it doesn't come cheap. What is the best technology? Wavefront guided LASIK, which is blade-free with an intralaser laser. Nothing beats that. That's what you need to demand. That's what's best for you. And that's what we're going to give you. LASIK stands for laser-assisted in situ keratomileusis. Long-term, a lot of history behind it. But what you need to know is that we're going to change the shape of the cornea, the window of the eye, in front of the colored part of your eye. The light is brought to a focal point on the back of the eye and where the nerves are, the retina. And it's focused by actually two kinds of lenses. One we call the cornea, the window of the eye, and one we actually call a lens, which is in the middle of the eye. It's much easier access to the cornea, which is right there in the front. By the wonders of technology, we have a laser that can alter the shape of the cornea. If it's too steep, you're nearsighted. If it's oval, you have astigmatism. If it's not steep enough, you have farsightedness. So with the laser, we're able to alter the shape to bring the light rays to a perfect focal point onto the retina to have clear vision without glasses or contacts. We create a corneal flap. We call it a flap. We used to call it a cap. But we have a hinge on one side. So we create from about 10% of the thickness of the cornea, the window of the eye, we create this flap with the laser and move the flap aside. Then 90% of the cornea is underneath that, still has that same curvature to it. And then the laser, the other laser, the excimer laser, called the one we use is the Vuzix, that has the wavefront technology, is going to go in and change the shape of the cornea, custom tailored to your shape, so that it comes out to a perfect shape, so the focal point of the light rays comes perfectly onto the retina. It's very quickly done in a matter of seconds, and then we move the flap back into position, and then you don't know we did much. It's sort of a trick, and because there's no abrasion on the surface of the eye doesn't know we did much to it. You're seeing clear very quickly afterwards. There's a little foreign body sensation, mild, first few hours. You go home, take a little nap, wake up, and you're seeing clear, and you're comfortable, and it's a modern-day miracle. A refractive error refers to the fact that light rays need to come to a focus a sharp focus on the back of the eye where all the nerves are on the retina. And the light rays come in and they're bent first by the window of the eye, the cornea, and then again by the lens inside the eye, which we call the lens. So it's like a two-lens system. Somebody who has a refractive error has a situation where the light rays are not coming to a sharp focal point on the back of the eye on the retina, either because the eye is too long or short, or the cornea is too steep or oval shaped. If it's oval shaped, we call that astigmatism. You have two focal points instead of one. If it's too steep, you're nearsighted. The light is focused too quickly, and it's focused before it hits the retina. If the cornea, the window of the eye, is not steep enough, too shallow, the light rays aren't bent quick enough, and they theoretically would come to a focal point behind the retina. So again, it has to do with the shape of the cornea, the power of the lens, and or the length of the eye. When you have a refractive error, you have blurred vision. It's nothing you feel, but something you see. And in the field of laser vision correction, the goal is to eliminate refractive errors. We do that with glasses, we do that with contacts, and now we can do that with a laser. The verb is to refract. The noun is a refraction. That's what we do when we measure your refractive error. And that's when you're seated behind that instrument that you're looking through, and the doctor goes, what's better, one or two? We're determining what that refractive error is, and we're measuring it in something called, we don't use inches or pounds, we use something called diopters. There's something we call a spherical component, a cylindrical component. The cylinder comes into play if you have astigmatism, because the cornea is oval shaped then, and if it's shaped more like a football than a basketball, then it really is critical what angle that's at. Is the football lying this way, or is it lying vertically, horizontally? And we measure that with an axis. So if you see a prescription, you'll have the first number is the steepness of the cornea, it's the sphere. The second number, if you have astigmatism, is the cylinder. That's the amount of oval aspect to your cornea. And then the third number is the actual axis, what degree that the football is lying at. If it's lying vertically, it's at 90 degrees. And that's what the doctor writes when we write it down on a prescription pad. We're writing in a numerical formula. It's a universal language. Eye doctors use that in any country throughout the world. We'd be able to read the same prescription, which we get from a refraction. To see if you're a good candidate for LASIK, we really need to have you come into the office for an evaluation where we're going to first check to see that your refractive error isn't too much for LASIK. There's a limit to how much, but we can do surprisingly very high prescriptions, but there is still a limit. Then we're going to look at the health of your cornea, is it healthy? There's very many aspects to that, with lots of high-tech equipment we use to check that out with a real fine-tooth comb, because the number one thing when it comes to safety in LASIK is to screen out those patients who are not a candidate and or use a certain technique that will be safest for your situation. But if you jump through those hoops, which most people do, but not everybody, then you can have LASIK or some other type of laser vision correction. We look at the whole general health of not only the eye, but of your whole body. There are certain contraindications to laser vision correction that we'll be getting a history from you. Will be both family history and your medical history, and then doing a full, complete eye exam. Not only just looking at the front of the eye where we're working, but checking inside the eye and the back of the eye, so that we can give treatment that's most appropriate for your situation. As far as cost goes, I mean, these payment plans that we have that are so affordable, It's way less than monthly charges that you're paying for many other things, cell phones, cable TV, et cetera, et cetera. You're spending money on glasses and contacts as we speak. And over the long haul, there's no question that it's an investment, you're actually saving money if you look at it over years and certainly decades. I felt for years that LASIK was as safe as contact lenses. That's even with the earlier technology 15 years ago. Boy, have we had an evolution in that with all the bells and whistles we have and fences around the procedure to make it so safe. And I feel today that it's safer than contact lenses. We're really providing incredible procedure, both in terms of convenience, safety, and the awesome result. You're gonna, it's easy to say you'll wake up and you'll see the alarm clock, but you're cured. It's over, done. No more glasses, no more contacts. You see crystal clear for the rest of your life. And that's the reason I think anybody wearing glasses or contacts, if you're a candidate, no question in my mind, you should have LASIK. That's why I did my wife and 2 of my kids. We're always out there evaluating upgrades, and that's my job, my responsibility to see what works, what's real, and what will be a benefit for my patients. And that's what we do in an ongoing way here to provide for you the best that's out there, because technology is really important. Well, on the day of the procedure, you'll be here plan on being here about 2 hours. The procedure itself takes about 5 to 10 minutes per eye. We're doing both eyes, usually the same day. You go home, you'll take a little nap. Your eye might feel a little irritation, nothing bad. After a few hours, and you're seeing well and feeling really good, and the vision continues to improve. Next morning, it's even better. Most people can actually drive here easily the next day without the glasses or contacts on, although we always recommend that you have a driver the day of the procedure and have someone available the next day, but that almost everybody could drive here the next day. We're going to see you that first day post-op, and then we'll see you about a week or 2 after, and then about 3 months after that, and that's typical. And then we recommend that we check you about once a year, not just to check the LASIK and see how you're doing, but also just as a general eye exam, screening for basic things that we would on any eye exam. After your procedure, we'd like you to go home and take a little nap for a few hours, and then you're up and around, seeing well very quickly, comfortable, you could have fairly normal activity. The things we don't want to happen is exposure to contaminants where germs will get into your eye, so you need to use common sense in terms of that. And we don't want you to get poked in the eye, of course. So you want to use common sense as far as avoiding that. Just, you could wash your face, brush your teeth, take a shower, wash your hair, but just keep your eyes closed. That seems to be fine. If you wanted to go jogging, sweating doesn't seem to cause any problem. You can go next day and lift weights and that kind of thing. Just don't want you rubbing your eyes, don't want you to get poked in your eyes, and we don't want external contaminants getting into the eyes. We prefer you, if you're a swimmer, we prefer you again, to keep water out of the eyes for the first several weeks. As far as makeup, we would like you to avoid wearing eyeliner and mascara and that kind of thing for the first few weeks. But other than that, you're up and running very quickly. With LASIK, what so many patients get is that wow, right from the get-go, because it's so fast, so convenient, painless, and you're just seeing. I mean, it's amazing, and you can count on that, and you can expect that. Far-sighted patients will take a little longer to come around than the nearsighted patients, but they're all really relatively amazingly fast. Astigmatism doesn't seem to slow things down one way or the other. So most of our patients are able to drive here the next day without their glasses. My goal for you is 20 happy. That means that you just look clear. We want you to see how you see with glasses or contacts, without glasses or contacts. Nothing more complicated than that. And that's what we plan to deliver for you. The need for reading glasses has to do with what we call presbyopia. And that term refers to the fact that at around age 40, even if you see perfectly at distance, you have to start having trouble seeing up close. And that difficulty increases with time. It has something to do with the lens that's inside the eye. It becomes denser as we age. We address that really very well with something called blended vision when we do laser vision correction, where we're going to get both eyes to see far and both eyes to see near, but one eye we're going to set it so it sees better at far and the other one better at near. So without too much of a difference between the two eyes, the brain just puts them right together, and you're having your cake and eating it too. The nice thing about LASIK is that it's permanent. We're going to change the shape of the cornea, and it's wonderful that it holds and it's permanent. But I have to hedge my bets there a little bit because there's that rare patient, maybe about 1 out of 1,000, that may have a little change over time. But in general, it just lasts and lasts. That's what makes LASIK so affordable, because when you're spending a certain amount of money for something that, unlike a vacation when you're back in a week or two, I mean, this is just the bunny rabbit that just keeps going and going and going. Of course, when you hit around 70, you may have some significant cataracts. That's totally unrelated to LASIK. That may change things, but then we have other surgery for that. But as far as getting you out of glasses, nearsighted patients, for the vast, vast, vast majority of patients, you're out of glasses for good. The nice thing about the LASIK procedure is that it's painless. Now, when I say painless, we're going to give you some numbing drops. That's all it takes. The numbing drops numb the pain-sensing nerves, but not the pressure-sensing nerves. And we use the intralaser laser to create the flap very safely. We're going to create some pressure in the eye on purpose, and the numbing drops don't numb up the pressure-sensing nerves, so you may feel a little bit of pressure during that time. When we use the Vizix laser, you feel nothing. When we lay the flap back down, there's no stitches required. It binds very quickly, and around the edge of the flap, there's you can think of it as like a very tiny linear, although it's curved, abrasion right around the edge. And so they'll have a little, when you blink, a little scratchy feeling when the numbing drops wear off in about a half hour. But that's why we recommend you just go home, take a nap for a few hours. We give you a little Valium to help you sleep. When you wake up, that mild discomfort is gone. I suppose very rare things can happen, and it is possible. Most important thing, number 1 on the list, I think, is to screen out those who aren't a candidate. Number 2 on the list is for me to be available in case you have a problem. But that potential is there. I'm looking out for the patients to keep that at a far distance. But even in my hands, I mean, things can happen. If that was to happen, there's still backup with other surgical procedures that can be performed, but we don't want to really go down that road. It's all about prevention. The benefit is that you don't have to, put glasses on and wake up and reach for your glasses first thing and be a prisoner to either glasses or contacts. You're just free. You've been cured. We've done this miracle that just changes your life. I mean, it's really there. It's accessible. It works. It's amazingly safe. And with the technology we have now is so accurate that we get our patients 20 happy, with a big smile on their face because we've got them seeing crystal clear forever.